Fantasy football podcast called Living the Stream comes to you each week. Streaming recommendations during NFL season, it's not just tongue-in-cheek. Quarterback, defense, tight end recommendations based on opposition matchup. Here are your podcast hosts, JJ Zacharyson and Danny Carter, living the stream.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Living the Stream. I'm JJ Zacharyson, the late round quarterback, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Denny Carter. Denny, what's going on, buddy?
That was so straight-laced.
Yeah, I was trying to just be, I'm trying to be, look, honestly, right now, I'm at that point where I'm just trying to be as efficient as possible because we have we talk about this every year. We have a 3-day week that we're trying to get 5 days of content pushed into.
Yeah, and unlike some jobs that I've had, you can't like short shrift this one. You can't half-ass it.
You can't like coast to Thanksgiving break.
No, I trust me. I've had jobs where I have coasted. Can't do that in the fantasy space, unfortunately. So we are grinding. So let's get into it. Hunter Henry this week. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. We're only gonna do the show for 15 minutes. It's gonna be like a late round podcast episode.
Right. This is gonna be the efficiency pod.
Yes.
No,
how's it going with you, man? We were talking before the show started. I was telling you I have a mouse problem in our pantry right now, which we have this intricate. We had like a rodent people come out and like, try to like help us fix the situation, but also my wife, who is kind of taking charge here, because I gotta say, man, I'm really good with like insects and stuff. Like I can get rid of those and not flinch.
Yeah.
When it comes to like rodents and like they get me. Like
different.
It's that really weird feeling of like, if I'm going to be I'm being careful when I'm going into the pantry and stuff. And like, cause the pantry is kind of like a walk-in type pantry situation. We redid our house when we bought it. So like we built basically a new pantry to have like a bigger pantry, but now it's housing a mouse. And we are trying to figure out the entry points and the exit points and all sorts of stuff. My wife has set up 2 baby monitors in the pantry to see where this mouse is coming from and exiting. And it's not been fun.
So you are fully investigating the situation, looking powerfully into where this thing is coming from.
That's right.
The thing about mice, and I know you know this, where there's one, there are several.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the mouse on camera. Okay. So we know that it's looking like there's not multiple scurrying around. I mean, it could be a different one every time we see one, but it's not like it's a frequent mouse, in front of the camera sitch. Right. So I'm hoping that there's only one. Yes. But we do have these, like, we have stuff set up everywhere that, rest in peace, mice.
Oh, I know. It is actually kind of brutal. I mean, I'm not, like a radical, like pro animal rights person, which is fine, more power to them. But even I am squeamish about the killing of the mice, and that's a rough one. So like during COVID, me and Melissa were watching TV and we see something scurry under the furniture. And I seriously, I was like, oh my God. Like, please tell me that was like a shadow that like, no. I don't. And Melissa freaks out. She like jumps on the couch, and I go and try to get it out, and it runs down into the basement. Well, there are 5 of them down there in the basement. And so just a complete horror show.
Could you hear them making squeaking noises?
Yes.
Oh, that's the part that really, so we did we know there's one entry point because part of the pantry wasn't totally finished when we renovated the house, and we knew that, whatever. And like, we knew there's an entry point. So you're supposed to put like steel wool in areas where, because they'll try to chew through, and they can't really chew through because it's steel wool. Well, evidently Amanda the other night was sitting in the living room, which is, it's like a open to the kitchen type situation. And she could hear a squeal, and it was the mouse like trying to probably go through the steel wool that we had like pushed into this area. And it was, like eating it and swallowing it. And it probably didn't feel good on its throat.
No. Oh God. Yeah. So that was a difficult few days to try to make sure we got all of them. Kept the kids out of the basement, of course.
But that's the thing. We only have a crawl space. We don't have a basement here, right? So we have this crawl space that's probably like 2 feet tall. Okay, so you can if we have like a contractor or something here, if someone needs to do work, because I'm not going to the crawl space. I mean, there's no reason for me to go in there. And so you got to get down on your back and kind of crawl in. So it's a crawl space. So there's definitely stuff got to be. I mean, there's got to be a lot of stuff going on down there, right? Hurt and animals.
Yeah, no, it's not good. None of it's good.
None of it's good down there. I maybe after this, I need to take the patron money and really do up the crawl space and make it so nice that animals don't want to live.
Look, I have the biggest deck on the Eastern Seaboard. You need the biggest crawl space.
Yeah, that's right. Seaboard. That's right. Someone said this is more like living the Scream. Look, you're not wrong. I genuinely, when I say that I don't like rodents and stuff, this is ocean level stuff for me, right? Like we talked about. This is actually above. I'd rather sprint into the ocean at night than have to deal with a mouse and be around a mouse.
Wow. So you'd rather die because you claim that that's instant death.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes, it's about that line. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at with mice and rodents, and we also here in our area, because we have like trees and stuff next to our house. There's cockroaches, but they're not the cockroaches that infest when you have food sitting out. It's just the natural in nature type whatever cockroaches, and we'll randomly get them in the house, and we to the point where we have a 2-story living room, right? Like an open living room. And there was one that crawled up the wall, and then it's too high for you to do anything with, right? Because it's not even it's a really high ceiling. Right. And so it goes all the way up, and we're sitting there. We were watching a movie or something on our TV, and all of a sudden it just fell from the ceiling. We had a cockroach just fall from the ceiling. Yeah, that was something.
The cockroach. Jeez.
So Troy says, as someone who lives in the country, you all need to man up. I have cats that keep the mice away. So, we have neighborhood cats that try, but they're clearly terrible at it.
So Troy says we need to get tough and get cats that will protect us.
You're right. Yeah, let's get tough and get cats. Okay, Troy.
Real tough guy with your dang cats, Troy.
Yeah, unless you're talking about a bobcat or something, then I can understand what you're saying.
Right, a jaguar. How about that?
Audio Andrew says, please just talk about Tommy DeVito already.
Oh, you think you know us? You think you don't know us?
Also, I want to give a shout. I hope folks saw today, but Late Round Fantasy Football added a new member to the squad today.
I saw that. Congratulations to you and Mr. David Kitchen.
Yeah, added a COO. I feel like a real person now.
Yeah, I mean, you're a big boss. Many are calling you the big boss online.
Yeah, and he has to call me sir, of course.
Mr. Zacharyson.
Yeah, these are the rules.
He actually has to call you Dr. Zacharyson, which makes no sense, but I respect it that you're making him call.
Yeah, Doctor of Fantasy Football. It's okay. We can all accept that as truth. Yeah. No, I'm really excited. Shout out David. It was a situation where there's a lot of stuff on the business end that I can't get to at the end of the day. I get a lot of inquiries / try to manage a lot with sponsorships and advertising, and also, things like customer relationship marketing. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't get to because I'm focused on creating content, and I want to be able to create the content that I love to create and create more of it. So I had some conversations with Kitchen. I've known him we've both known him for a really long time now. It was a pretty easy decision at the end.
That's awesome. Yeah. So are you telling me and the audience that you're in this for the money? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Man, I thought you were in it for the women this whole time.
Right.
And it turns out there are no women. So
one of the funny things with going out on my own, Denny, that has not been that surprising necessarily, but it is interesting, is that people make the assumption that I have no idea what I'm doing, where I'm just a content creating fantasy analyst, so I can't possibly understand how to grow and run a business. And I'm at the point where, just so everyone's clear, I don't have a desire to create some massive media conglomerate that is competing with Roto World or something.
But you're accidentally going to do that because you're so good at it that it's just going to happen.
No, I have zero desire to do something like that, to the point where like this could even just be it. It could just be me in kitchen. And I've said it from the start. Like it's always just been about if the right person comes, is willing to work and do, do the work at the right time. Like I'd be open to at least doing something like this. And I think maybe after the first hire, it might be easier to make like other hires, but I have no desire to really like grow this thing. And because the bigger things get, the more I have to manage. I don't want to manage. Like the whole reason I left FanDuel and like I'm doing what I'm doing is because I love creating the content and like being an analyst and like getting those thoughts out there and digging in and working late nights whenever I'm trying to get guides done and stuff. Like I love it. It is a passion. So like, I'm not going to all of a sudden just go back to where I was just because I'm trying to be a greedy MFer, like it's just crazy.
I mean, I know you don't want to be a tycoon, but if you're good enough, then you accidentally become a tycoon. So you better watch out. You better not be too successful.
Yeah. Look,
I mean, this is the problem. I mean, I'm not joking here. Like if you become too successful, then you can't do the content creation anymore.
You can't. You're right. You're not wrong. Part of the thing though, for me is that I just, the business is doing well, right? Like late round fantasy football is doing way better than I ever thought it was going to do. Like I had some projections and idea. You guys are going to be shocked that I, try to project how financially the business would do whenever I started it. But it's gotten to a point where like, I need to just grow so that I'm not stagnant, because I think that if you're not growing, then you are kind of dying in any business in general. I just don't think that you need to grow so exponentially that it needs to be something that you didn't intend it to be. Like, I think what people like about late round fantasy football is that it's got sort of a mom and pop vibe to it because it's me, right? Like, I don't need to be a brand, like a big brand, right? I just want to be the comforting place that people know they can get accurate fantasy advice. That's it. That's all it needs to be. And I want to build relationships with people. You can't do that whenever you have a team of 15. It's just not possible. Okay, that's my spiel.
But good luck with your team of 15.
Yeah. And talk to me in 10 years. No. Look, it took me 3 years to hire one person, Denny.
I mean, you're on pace to have 15 employees by the time you're in your 60s then.
Yeah. Someone says, JJ, how big is the offseason drop in Patreon? Is it larger or smaller than expected? I mean, I don't know.
Give us your details. Give us
let me tell you
how much you make in the offseason.
Yeah. No, I mean, like a lot of people stick around because there's a twofold thing going on. Number one, I'm still providing content during the offseason, like dynasty content and stuff. Number two, there's a community involved that people want to be part of, and that I'm, fortunate that they do want to be part of that. But yeah, I mean, there's a drop off. I think anyone in the fantasy space, whether you're talking about views or listens to your podcast, you're going to see a pretty significant drop off outside of August to December. Like even now, Denny, like we're going to, I'm speaking to you, Denny, but to the world that's listening to this right now. The people that are listening to this show right now, there were way more people listening to this in August. Well, I guess in September. Right?
Oh yeah.
Because
so many. Yes.
People get bored of fantasy football as the season goes on, or their teams end up not being very good. It's just naturally what's going to go on in this space.
That's right.
Yeah. No different than like if you're a pool company, right? Or like that's why like pool companies around here often will have businesses of like hanging Christmas lights on houses and stuff, like doing something in the winter to make up for the lack of
I should probably consider that as well. I need to hang people's Christmas lights
Dude,
in order to make up for the lack of
some of the places. My wife randomly just like inquired once just to see. We would never do that because it's just not worth. Dude, some of the places to hang Christmas lights on your home. And look, it's like lined, like on your like gutters and stuff. Like it looks good, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's like over $2,000.
No, come on.
Dude, I'm not even kidding.
You're messing with me.
I am not even kidding. It is a bonkers price tag. Like an absolutely, you would not believe it kind of price tag.
You gotta want it so badly.
I just can't even comprehend doing something. My business is doing well, but my gosh, I'm not going to spend $2,000 on Christmas lights.
You know who didn't spend $2,000 on Christmas lights? Clark Griswold.
Yeah,
and he did fine.
Yeah, he did great. By the way, my hair is long right now.
It is long. I like it.
Do you think it's okay?
I mean, look, I've never seen your hair where I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. Like it always looks good. But yeah, some length in the front I think can look really good.
Thank you. Because I was contemplating, because we're going away for Thanksgiving. I was like, do I need to get a haircut before I go? But I clearly didn't, because
let it ride.
Yeah, I'm grinding a little bit. Also, there's a you guys have to let me know, should I grow a mustache? Because because Denny, last week I kind of let my beard go, okay, for the week, and then I shaved, my beard part, but I left the mustache for about 6 hours, and Amanda hated it because number one, it's a mustache, but number two, it was like a transition mustache, right? It was. Because you got to grow it. But I think the way you got to do it is you grow the full beard, like really long beard, to the point where the mustache will be fine standalone.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you can't expect it to just happen, but I don't know if I can live with you having a mustache.
That's fair. It's fair. I didn't think that I would ever crave a mustache, but there's like maybe like a quarter of me that's kind of craving the stash right now.
Yeah, I get that. Rotopat had a significant stash during COVID. Do you remember that?
I do. He looked like a different human being.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
I didn't even think that he was.
He looked like he lived in a cabin in the woods somewhere.
Yeah. No, but I'm thinking like it also wouldn't be a stash with clean shaven. It would be the scruff with stash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would look a little bit messier, right?
I mean,
I think I might have to keep my hair long if that's the case.
Well, you do have guys who have like a really neat haircut and then like the craziest facial hair you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that's a look,
Yeah. Maybe I'll look. I can't do it during football season because I'm actually in front of people speaking on these streams and stuff. Like I can't. I'm not confident enough of a person.
People love a mustache. Everybody's gonna tell you to do it. I don't know.
I don't know. We got Bethany saying no. So basically, like the only female that's listening to this right now in chat.
Yeah, women. That's the thing. Women would not want you to grow a stash.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But every guy's like, "Do it, man."
I think you're exactly right. Yes. Every guy's like, "Get the stash, man. Yeah, go for it.
You look sweet."
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to what happened last week. Denny, we had kind of an below average week. Not a lot of streamers. We knew it was going to be tough. I am tilted a little bit that on the late round podcast on the Sleeper Show, I brought up Noah Gray and I didn't bring him up on this show. So yeah, that's my bad. That's
a tough one.
It's because I record that the next day, and this is earlier when I'm not doing as much research.
Part of the fantasy football cycle makes it very difficult to like drill down into great sleeper plays. That happens later in the week, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. I've been contemplating doing my sleeper show like and flipping the mailbag and sleeper days, because it's so much easier to find like good legit sleepers when you know more information about health on Friday.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Anyway, we had Drake May 13.5. That was kind of a disappointment. Will Levis had 16. That was pretty good. Tommy DeVito had 10.8 and Jameis Winston 13.5. Denny, you win the Jameis Winston versus Tommy DeVito battle, but you luck boxed into that with that rushing touchdown. I gotta say, it was, that you were lucky with the Jameis Winston.
Oh! I forgot about that
because you had Jameis Winston. I was like, no, just play Tommy DeVito, and Jameis won by 3 points, less than 3 points, but he had that. It was a pretty ugly Jameis.
This is a garbage game. I actually can't believe he only scored 3 more points. That's terrible.
I didn't even talk about it. I didn't talk about the game and how I completely called it.
You did. You completely called it. I was over a buddy's house, and once the Steelers were choking like dogs in the street in like at the end of the first half, I was like, I was like, oh, you know what? I was like, JJ called this, and he was like, no, they'll still win by 3 touchdowns.
No.
I was like, no. JJ has a good feel for it. I feel like he's onto something here. So you were right. Congratulations on your team. I know you're not a huge Steelers fan now, but congratulations on your team losing to just a miserable Browns team.
Yeah, just knowing ball. That's it.
You do know the ball.
I went to Twitter. I know that a lot of you guys aren't on there anymore, but I went to Twitter and I put the same tweet on Blue Sky, but it was something along the lines of like every Steeler fan in America knew that this was going to happen because Mike Tomlin's been doing it for 20 years or whatever. And the responses, like, that I'm a big Tomlin backer, right? And everyone's like, you're a moron because Mike Tomlin's good and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I'm not saying that he's a bad coach. I'm saying that he always plays down to competition. So naturally the following day, I had to do research and show people that he actually has been bad against bad teams. Did you know, Denny? I don't know if you saw this thread or not. I looked at since 2014, the last 10 years, I looked at every franchise and their record against teams that finished the season with 5 or fewer wins.
How did you do this?
Why or how?
How?
Like StatHead and stuff.
That's
just
crazy.
Querying. So I looked at all these teams since 2014 who played against opponents who had 5 or fewer wins. Okay. Mm-hmm. The Steelers during this time, I didn't look this up. Someone told me the Steelers during this time have the second best win percentage in the regular season, which is not surprising because they've been, they haven't had a losing season since like the freaking first Bush administration.
Yeah. Right. No politics.
Sorry. And so, they have the second best record from 2014 to 20 through 2023. I didn't look at this year. And their record against teams with 5 or fewer wins in a season is 22nd, their win percentage.
Wow.
So but the crazy thing is they're great against good teams, which is exactly the point. Mike Tomlin plays the competition. This is what the Steelers do. Their win percentage against these bad teams is like 74, 75%, which is crazy.
And on the flip side, the week before against Baltimore, I posted the Blue Sky, said there's 0 chance that the Steelers are going to lose this game. I don't know how, like everybody's going to play terribly. It's going to be a bad game, but the Steelers are obviously going to win this game.
Yeah.
And then they did. So they do play to their competition. It would be nice if maybe they would not do that sometimes.
Yeah, imagine a world where but I said on the show, I was like, if they get by Cleveland, this is going to be the year they finally win a playoff game. They're not going to win a playoff game this year. They're going to lose to the Chargers in the first round. And it's going to be horrible.
Oh yeah. God,
although the Chargers are fun, at least.
That does sound right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. At tight end, we had Zach Ertz and Will Dissly. Ertz had 15.8, Dissly 8.7. They're no longer in streaming territory from a percent rostered standpoint. Washington, really big disappointment for Washington. They only scored 2 points. And then Tampa Bay did have 10. So Tampa Bay was actually a decent play after, being a defense that, again, you could play a lot of weeks down the stretch. Although Carolina is playing a little bit better, and we'll get to them in just a second. Denny, why don't you kick things off at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I have Trevor Lawrence. He's a streamer, folks. Could come back this week against the Texans. I'm not going to lie to you. I've never lied to you on the stream.
Never.
Never lied, period. I can't legally. And I will tell you, this is a terrible matchup. Like the Texans are really, really stout against everything, including the pass. But Houston has seen the 4th highest neutral pass rate against them this season. Jaguars are 6-point underdogs. So could have kind of a negative game script here and lots of dropbacks for Lawrence. Lawrence threw 2 touchdowns last time these teams met. So you could probably do worse is what I would say.
Yeah, I think that this could be a pretty good garbage time. Like, I have a feeling that Houston's going to come out and destroy Jacksonville after their performance last week. Like, I think there's something to just like the mentality of teams, and like CJ Stroud's probably going to be a top 6 quarterback this week. I think it's going to happen.
I feel like
he's been pretty mid, but
I feel like Stroud's just not good. I don't know.
I think it's gonna happen. Actually, he's just like not like the deep ball stuff isn't there for him this year. He's not scoring many touchdowns on deep balls at all. Yeah, it's kind of sad though because he's pretty easy to root for.
Well, I mean, you have a very bad play caller in PFF.
How crazy is that though? Because last year he was a savior.
He was good last year. Although last year he had signs, he had a little bit of a fraudulent situation with the running the ball on first down. So they got a decent running back. Now they run the ball on first down all the time. CJ Stroud's collapsing under pressure. I don't know.
One of the big things for them, I always look at how teams score touchdowns, just their ratio of pass to rush touchdowns, right? And last year they were 27-10 in terms of passing touchdowns to rushing touchdowns. This year they're 14-13.
Right. So, but that's natural sort of regression, right?
Yeah, a little bit of regression, but it's also like it wasn't substantially high. Like a 2.7 type ratio isn't like massively high, but a ratio that's close to 1 is pretty low. I mean, like usually teams are going to be throwing, for more touchdowns than running them. But I also think it just points to like, this is also the way this offense has been operating, right? They're leaning on Joe Mixon, like you said.
I had some Texans fans in my mentions this summer saying, like, you don't understand. The Texans do not want to throw the ball ever. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, they have one of the most promising young quarterbacks of his generation. Yeah. But they're not going to throw it. Sure. Turns out they were right.
I mean, to be fair though, CJ Stroud from a fantasy perspective was one of the easiest fades of the year.
Oh, super easy.
Like and it's crazy because, you're mentioning that about like Texans fans, fantasy football managers and players. When I went on shows and I mentioned CJ Stroud as a fade, that like, and I had a list of other fades that actually were wrong. Like some of the fades that they shouldn't have been fades, but the one player they always fixated on was CJ Stroud. They're like, no way CJ Stroud is going to, it's like that was the easiest one. Him and Zamir White were two of the easiest fades of the season.
I feel like Anthony Richardson was the easiest fade of my whole entire fantasy life. But Stroud is close.
The thing with Richardson though, like I thought that him and Kyler should have been way closer in rank, for instance, than they were. But like at least Richardson had like the juice that on the ground and like you know what I mean? Like there was at least like an out of like that in that floor. I mean, the floor for a pocket passer is complete trash. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah. All right. Russell Wilson, this will be quick. He's had a yards per attempt rate over 9 in 3 of his 5 starts. He's been pretty good. They should have thrown the ball a lot more against Cleveland. I don't know why they did what they did. It was really, really tilting.
Yeah.
Because he played fine. Cincinnati's a top 5 matchup for quarterbacks by adjusted points allowed. Pittsburgh has about a 22-point implied team total. The one thing that's a little bit weird, Denny, I don't know if you've seen this or not, and maybe my data is a little bit screwed up, but Cincinnati has the lowest pass rate allowed in neutral game scripts this year.
Yeah.
And I worry a little bit about the Steelers being Arthur Smith, right? And just pounding the rock and not letting Russ rip it when they should rip it because it is a beatable secondary.
They're absolutely, if they're allowed to do that, they will establish it.
Yeah, that's my fear with Russ. That's why I'm not going to be, like for instance, I have in like super flex league, I have like Stafford or Russ this week. I'm just going Stafford and I'm not even thinking twice.
I think that's right.
It's just a lot safer. Yeah.
I have Drake Z May the 4th against the Colts. Patriots have a fat total of 20 points here, so you know what you're getting. The Colts are allowing the most plays per game to their opponents, so maybe volume would be on Drake May's side here. Secondary has tightened up over the past month by several measures, which I'm not going to bore you with, and Drake May has averaged 5 rushing attempts over his past 4 games.
Bryce Young against Tampa Bay. I actually don't mind Bryce this week. I think that
he played out of his mind last week.
It was easily his best game of his career. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah.
He was making real NFL throws. It was very impressive.
It was great. It was great to see. But the Buccaneers have by far, Denny, the top pass rate allowed in neutral game script environments. It's like by 5 percentage points. It's like teams are throwing the ball against Tampa Bay. He's coming off his best game of his career. Scored 16.5 fantasy points in a tough spot, against Kansas City. Not an easy spot, at least. Tampa Bay is the second best matchup by adjusted points allowed for quarterbacks. I think Bryce Young, he's, I do my sleeper show every week where I look at percent rostered and I kind of bucket them in 10 to 50% and then under 10%. Bryce is in the under 10% bucket right now, but I think that he's just as good of a play, or at least he's up there and close to some of the guys that we just talked about.
I think Bryce Young could make the Carolina offense way more fun than we're used to down the stretch here.
Hopefully.
It makes me, kind of bullish on a guy like Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
And obviously Hubbard and whatnot. All right. On the tight end.
I don't know if Xavier Legette's going to be a thing or not.
Well, he had a couple brutal drops last week. So He did have his opportunities.
Yeah, he's consistently seeing like an 18% target share in the offense, and it's a completely wide open offense for him to like dominate if he was good.
He's probably not good. Yeah.
Right. That's okay. Let's go to tight end.
Yeah. Hunter Henry, again, playing the Colts. So here's some stats about Hunter Henry. He has the 6th most tight end targets since week 7. And only Travis Kelce has run more routes among tight ends over that span. So he's out there a lot. He's not doing a whole lot, but he's out there a lot, and you got to hand it to him. Only the Ravens have allowed more tight end receptions than the Colts this season. So Hunter Henry is a decent play.
Yeah, and he's more of a fringe streamer, but I figured we should throw him on here.
I know. Not in my league.
Yes.
Blue Sky is going to come for my head.
Yeah, not my league, Blue Sky. I'm going to go to Theo Johnson. Kind of a mid matchup on paper, but young Theo, Denny, he's seen target shares of 23%, 19%, and 20% over his last 3. Let's just cross our fingers that Drew Lock starts.
Yes.
Drew Lock is better than Daniel Jones. Drew Lock would be better for this offense than any other quarterback that they have had this year.
So I accidentally came upon some Tommy DeVito cope.
Oh God, Denny.
I know.
He hasn't thrown an interception in 6 starts?
No, no, forget that. I don't care about that. No. Can I share some of it with you? All right.
Yeah.
Well, whether you like it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Dropback success rate. He was 18th out of 27 quarterbacks last week. Okay. So that's not bad. Above Kyler, above Stroud, above May. He was only sacked on 23% of his pressures, which is way better than the 40% from last year. And importantly for neighbors, DeVito completed 15 of his 17 attempts within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. So I think he can manage.
He's just got the awareness of like a duck.
I know.
He's just.
You say a duck?
Yeah, I don't know. What? Just a random animal.
I feel like ducks are aware.
You think they're aware? I don't know.
They're pretty aware.
All right, maybe the mouse that's in my pantry.
He has the awareness.
He seems like he's not very aware.
He has awareness of the lady in the soup aisle in the grocery store the other day.
Who
just stood there. I had to wait 3 minutes for her to clear out.
Those are the worst people on earth are the people that park their cart in the middle of the aisle and they don't move when you're clearly right there. You're right there.
Do you understand how passive aggressive I get in those situations?
Oh my gosh. I start going through everything that is horrible that I could do in that situation.
I mean, do you my passive aggressiveness in those situations could melt steel beams? Honestly, it's crazy.
Yeah. Sounds like you're a 9/11 truther.
Whoa.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go to Noah Gray. Actually, didn't I just talk about Theo Johnson? Whatever. I'm going to go to the next guy, Noah Gray.
Yeah, no.
He's been above a 50% route share in each of his last 5. He was above 50% in just one of his first 5 games this year. He has over 40 PPR points over his last 2 games. Vegas is number 2 in adjusted points allowed to tight end, so it's a good matchup. I mean, the way I sold Noah Gray on the 15 transaction show this week was that you can add him for kind of unpredictable production, right? We might get some production, but the upside's there for, if Travis Kelce's hurt, Noah Gray's probably a tight end 1 in fantasy, right? So, So that's the reason that you would want to have him on your roster. If you're, to me, here's something that we don't really talk about that much with streaming and game theory, right? If you're between Noah Gray and Theo Johnson, and even if you like Theo Johnson more this week, you probably should just play Noah Gray because Gray's output might only be 2 or 3 points lower. Not only that, but there's variance, and we never know what's going to happen with these guys. But there's more upside if that thing happens, if that injury occurs to a guy like Kelce.
Noah Gray's better than Travis Kelce. I think they're keeping Kelce around because he's boys with Mahomes, but Gray's clearly faster, better getting open. It's completely over for Kelce.
It's starting to happen for Kelce, yeah.
But Kelce's going to keep getting 10 targets a game. So
I mean, he's still going to be a top 6 tight end because they pepper him. All right, you got one more.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki. So tight ends have 28 targets against the Steelers over the past 3 games. So he has that going for him, although he doesn't really operate as a tight end. He last time the Bengals played was in week 11. 0 catches, but it's way better than that. Okay, you think 0 catches is bad? Well, what about this? He ran a route on 43 of the team's 56 dropbacks against the Chargers. He ran 70% of his routes from the slot. He saw 2 targets. So, that's the good stuff.
Some people would say that he gets really good cardio when he is playing football.
I'm jealous of his cardio, to be honest.
Same. All right, defense. I'll go with the Cowboys against the Giants. I think they're the clear top streamer this week. You get with healthy Micah Parsons over the last 3, they've recorded 4+ sacks in 2 of those 3 games. The Giants have allowed an average of 4 sacks per game without Andrew Thomas. New York has allowed a top 10 defensive performance in fantasy in 6 of their last 7 games. Dallas is a 3.5-point favorite, low total in that game. I think it's a pretty obvious streamer.
Colts playing the Patriots. Drake May has taken 12 sacks and thrown 5 interceptions over the past 4 games. Before we get into the questions, JJ, can I tell the folks about a Black Friday sale that they can't afford not to take advantage of? I mentioned it before on the show a couple times. The product is called Pre-Sleep. It uses magnesium and L-theanine to help you get sleepy, which is important. There's a big difference between being tired and being sleepy. And I didn't know that for a long time, but now I do. I use this product 2 or 3 times a week. I recommend it for you. You can check it out on presleep.co, presleep.co, and check it out there. You can get 30% off this week by using promo code Denny30.
All right, let's go to Twitter and Blue Sky for some questions. There's some from last week that we'll get to here. I am Groot 2001 on Twitter. How frustrating is it for you with start-sit questions, especially if and when you've already posted rankings? It seems like you could tweet that the chocolate milk is the only true milk, and some rando will comment, who should I start, player A or player B?
That's exactly what happens. You could be like, like my family left me this week.
My dog died.
And they'll be like, MVS viable in 10-team league.
Yeah, exactly. I actually have a thing with the late round fantasy football patrons where I say reference the rankings whenever people ask questions that are answered by the rankings, right? Like if you're asking me a wide receiver start sit in a live stream where I'm trying to get to literally 100 questions, I will just say reference the rankings and you can go look and you will get that answer because I literally have rankings for that.
Your reference the rankings t-shirt is prompting a lot of questions already answered by your shirt.
That's true. Yes. Next question at Rawls McCoy. What's the appropriate amount of time to keep a Christmas greeting card? If it were up to me, I'd toss them immediately after opening, but my wife likes to display them all over the house and well into January.
Oh, no, too long.
Yeah, that's pretty long.
That's too long. No, I mean, I think you can make a display. Sometimes we hang the Christmas cards, like on a red string that goes across the sunroom. Yeah. And that's a nice little look. But we take them down after Christmas, so I don't leave them up into January. Come on,
Denny, I'm gonna send you one this year.
Do you have them?
Yeah, we do them every year. I'm gonna send you one.
Okay, I
want you to hang it in your house.
I will. You don't think I will? I will.
I haven't done it yet and put it together. But yeah, we've done it. We put them together every year and we have like a list that we send it out to. And
should I do one?
A Christmas card?
Yeah.
Do you guys not do one?
I've never done one.
It's kind of fun to do. Yeah. It's a cute little thing.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing.
We should. I'd have to pay my kids in hard cash, but
yeah,
to get it done.
So we have like a little thing, like a little display, like you said, where you can like slip them in as kind of like a flower looking thing, right? And yeah, you can display the Christmas cards. I'd say at the turn of the new year, maybe you can take them off. You can throw them out.
Right. I mean, people leave up their Christmas stuff through New Year's Day. And I think after that, it's time to put it away. I don't like seeing, I still see a neighbor of mine who has Halloween lights up and that it's way, way too late for that.
Denny, have I talked to you? Have I talked to the listeners too about the people across the street from me have a Christmas tree up 24/7, 365?
Yeah, see that just takes away Christmas. Like you're if every day's Christmas, then no day is Christmas.
When we first moved here a few years ago, we thought that something was going on and that they were dead. Like we legit because they're a little bit older. Like we legitimately thought that it was like someone had died in there and no one was doing anything about it.
Yeah, I actually regret this. So on one of the doors that exits the house onto the deck, we left a Christmas mat there, and I had to and I forgot to take it down or put it back in the basement. So we've had it up all year, and I feel like that's like a huge disappointment for me, because when I see it, I'm like, oh wait, it's been Christmas all year. Like I ruined it.
Yeah, right. You did. You absolutely did. Next question at Steak Knife Ob, right? I wonder if Steak Knife Ob is ever going to be on Blue Sky. It says, how long is too long in the shower?
That's a really good question.
How long is what's your median or average shower?
5 minutes.
Oh, I'm more of like a 10 burger.
10.
Yeah, probably more of a 10 burger guy.
So luxurious.
5 to 10, probably maybe like 7.5 or so.
But fancy man, what are you doing in there? Taking a nap?
I mean, it's a nice time to be in your thoughts, and just feel the warm water hitting your face. It's a good feeling. 5 is pretty quick, Denny. You sure you're washing your feet?
Oh, I'm washing the feet. Trust me. I mean, yeah, my wife made it very clear I got to start watching my damn feet. So I've washed them every day since then. Almost died several times, but it's worth it. I got to do what I got to do to keep my feet clean. Here's one thing though. I wanted to mention this. I've been putting this powder in my hair that makes it really sticky, right? I like the way it looks, but it just makes it sticky. So I have to put on scalding hot water to get this stuff out of my hair.
Yeah.
And it makes me sweat, right? And you don't want to be sweaty getting out of the shower. It messes up your whole routine.
Sure.
So I'm in a tough spot there.
Yeah. Someone's asking, how do you fill 10 minutes? I don't know. Just be in your thoughts. You don't have to be in front of a screen all the time. You don't have to be occupied all the time. You can sit. It's like how do you feel just sitting in a chair for 10 minutes? I don't know. You think about things. You think about the world and your life, and then and then at the end you get out and you dry yourself. That's it.
It sounds terrible. Yeah.
I think that people need to. I think there'd be a lot less hate in the world if people took longer showers.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to go with if people just sat and were just were themselves with themselves, and I was going to go with that.
Yeah. But that's all inclusive with.
I mean, your water bill's got to be $300 a month, man.
No, stop. No, it's an extra 3 to 5 minutes.
Listen, Dave Kitchen, he's got to give you some business tips, including take a shorter shower.
Yeah, he's got to be worried about his salary because of my long showers.
Right.
Audio Andrew says 5 minutes showering, 5 minutes questioning your own existence. That's exactly right. What's wrong with that?
That sounds great, JJ.
You got to question your existence at least once a day. Why not do it in the shower?
That's great. You have a daily panic attack while the nice warm water rains on you.
I don't have a panic attack because I'm one with the world and myself. I understand my place in the world, Denny.
Oh, well, I mean that's actually awesome.
Yeah, you know why? It's because I've taken long showers and I've been able to think about it.
I'm just trying to get the shit out of my hair.
Yeah, I know. And maybe you should consider after that's out of your hair, just hanging out for a second. You're in no rush. You don't need to absolutely go do something.
I'm always in a rush, man. I'm a businessman. Time is money.
Yeah, right. Next question at Johnny F Ball Seed. It says, what is the correct order for toppings on tacos?
What is the correct order?
Yeah, order for toppings on tacos.
Well, you got to have salsa.
Yeah, but what I think that the question is like putting it on the taco. What order would you put it on? Not what are the toppings? Okay. Because here's what I think that this person's getting at, and I thought about this whenever I saw it because I'm like, who cares? I think there are like lettuce truthers and people who have lettuce, like they put it on in a certain, like either first where the toppings can then fall, or last where it kind of like wraps it all together, right? And it keeps it in, right? That's what she said. And so and so the lettuce would hypothetically be either first or last for a lot of people. I think that's my thought.
All right. Well, no one should ever put lettuce on the taco.
What was wrong with lettuce on a taco?
It is completely meaningless. It doesn't taste like anything.
You get a crunch.
You want to get a crunchy taco if you need a crunch that bad.
Denny, no, you can have both. You can have, it's a little bit of a wet crunch. It's like a fun little crunch.
A wet crunch. You're making it sound so appealing. Well, I love my wet crunch.
You never eat salads?
All right, can I just be real with you guys for a second? When we have tacos,
I've never had a taco before.
Oh my God. That reminds me, back in like 1999, I took my dad I had just started driving. I drove my dad to Taco Bell, right? Mm-hmm. He had literally never been to a Taco Bell.
Really?
And we walk up to the counter. I promise you this happened. And the lady goes, what can I get you? And my dad goes, yeah, what's a taco? And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Was he answering it like Jeopardy, or was it?
No, he was like, what's a taco? And we still joke about that to this day. This is 25 years ago. And we still joke.
What did he mean? Like, what did he mean by that, Denny?
He had never seen or eaten a taco.
How old was he then? 45?
Yeah, about that. And
he had never had he heard of a taco before?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but
this is like earth shattering. This
does
not make any sense to me.
I was like, Dad, stop. I was like, Dad, oh my God, stop.
You know what a taco is, Dad.
Oh, just let me order. Oh my God. It was crazy. Like, and he ordered a taco, and then he just opened it up and just ate the meat out of there, but not the rest of it.
Anyway, he's like Buddy the Elf, like having no idea what anyone does, but it's just with a taco.
I was blown away.
That is one of the most mind-blowing things that I've ever heard in my life. That's not even I not joking. That's not hyperbole.
No.
It is one of the most insane things that I've ever heard. Ever.
The way he said it too, like just like deadpan. Yeah, what's a taco? Like, where do you go?
I can understand even like an enchilada or something like that, or like something. I don't know what's on the Taco Bell menu.
What's a chimichanga?
Sure, yeah. Like, what is this thing? A taco, a taco, Denny.
What is it?
What is?
Please define.
Yeah, like someone says, what's a chalupa? Yeah, no one knows what a chalupa is, but literally, CJ knows what a taco is.
Right. And CJ's 45.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. All right. Next question. Also from Johnny F. Ball Seed. Do or did you make your kids nap on holidays, i.e. Thanksgiving and Christmas, or just F it and let them go wild?
That is a good question. What do you do?
Usually, I mean, if we kind of leave naps at this point. Like, I mean, Avery's 6. She's in first grade. So she doesn't really have to nap, right?
Right.
But we were kind of in those situations, we kind of leave it up to her, and we say, if you nap now, you can stay up later. And if you don't, then you got to go to bed a little bit earlier. That's all it is. So it's up to them. And if you're talking to a 4-year-old,
mm-hmm.
the 4-year-old's going to take the immediate gratification every single time. So she's not napping. Yeah.
So we were very strict with naps, to the point where the boomers, because the boomers, they didn't do naps. Like naps are a millennial invention.
Until how old were you strict with them?
4.
Yeah, 4.
About 4. But yeah, so when they were little, we actually had a Thanksgiving where we put both of them down right after we ate. We ate like at 1 o'clock. Is that early, by the way?
What you ate? Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
No, I think that like 1 o'clock and later is acceptable for like
Okay.
your Thanksgiving meal. Yeah.
Right. So we put them down and they passed out and they slept until like 5 p.m., which was a disaster because they wouldn't go to bed when it was time to go to bed at 7 or 8, whatever it was.
Yeah. What time do your kids go to bed now?
Xavier's 11, so he goes to bed at 9 o'clock.
Oh, I thought you were saying he goes to bed at 11. I was like, wow, that's
Good
pretty
God,
late.
no. I don't go to bed at 11. I
Yeah,
go to bed
like,
10:30.
man.
And Eleanor is 8. She goes to bed at about 8:15.
Okay, and then you go to bed at 10:30. Do you go to bed at 10:30 every night, and you just don't watch the prime time? You wait till the next day.
Last night I actually did watch the Chargers.
Chargers. Oh my God, I had the most tilting fantasy experience ever. But I won't get into it. But yeah, it's
I was tilting my head off, so I had to watch it. So I watched that, but yeah, usually it's 10:30 no matter what.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
tired, man.
I'm usually in the 11 to 12 range. I usually try to be in that range.
Yeah.
And then when do you wake up?
6:30.
Okay. I'm usually like a seven boy or so. You know,
I use
at least during football season.
I take my pre-sleep at 10 and I'm out at 10:30.
Yeah. I would say out of football season, I try to do like 11 to 7 daily. And sometimes it'll be like 6:30 depending on when Avery wakes up. But my kids,
sorry,
go ahead. No, I was gonna say Avery's an 8 o'clock. She's 6. She goes to bed at 8, and then CJ goes to bed at like 6:30, which is nice.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean he'll be 2 next month, so
yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, my ideal sleep situation would be midnight to 7.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I roll with, to be honest with you.
But I can't getting up at 6 or 6:30. I cannot stay up till midnight anymore.
I try not to get fewer than 7 hours of sleep in a night, but during football season, I do pretty consistently. But when you get under 6 is when you really feel it.
Can I say something which is weird? When I get under 6, I feel good. And when I get over 7, I feel like shit. Sorry to the kids.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe you should talk to a doctor about it.
Oh, don't make me. Everybody always wants to talk to a doctor. I don't want to talk to a doctor.
I got my yearly physical last week, Denny. You got to get your physical and get some blood work done and see, what's going on with that blood of yours.
Tired of that.
When's the last time you got a physical?
2021.
Okay, you need to get one every year. Everyone listening, get a physical.
God,
it's important. Okay, it's really important. Okay,
I'm fine.
Okay, son. All right. We got some questions from Blue Sky. First one is from Neil Dutton, our buddy, N Dutton 13. Yeah. I'm hoping your friends know what you both do for a living, but do you know exactly what your closest friends' jobs are? My friends and I, of 30 years acquaintance, genuinely have no clue about each other's jobs. Go ahead.
That's crazy.
To me, that's pretty crazy. Yeah.
But it's, you know what? That's such a man thing, right?
Yeah.
I know when I get together with guys and Melissa will be like, "What'd you guys talk? You guys talk about, families, life, job?" They're like, "No, man, we talked about the game."
Yeah. It's
true. I don't know. We talked about football players who played 35 years ago. What else are we supposed to talk about?
But here's the thing. Here, I will say this, and this is pretty how should I say? Soy boy beta of me to say this.
Okay. It's not what I was expecting.
As I've gotten older, I have learned that when I walk away from a day of that, right, I feel like emptier. Like I want to have a more fulfilling conversation. This is a very real talk.
No, it is.
Thing to bring up. Like I genuinely have just realized as I've gotten older that like I care. Like my closest friendships are the ones that we can be like vulnerable like that, and not just the like. Of course, everyone's gonna want to just like have a drink and like shoot the shit and stuff like that. But like truthfully, I just like having like a meaning. Like I just want like a meaningful conversation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Instead of like the bar talk type stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna strip away the irony and whatnot and say that you are right.
Yeah,
and that there, I think that men in particular are missing that in their lives, especially in an era of work from home,
right?
Constant social media usage. Like we do not have the same sort of deep relationships with other guys that our dads and their dads may have had.
Yeah. And it's hard too, because oftentimes because that's how I feel about this, I'm going to have to be the vulnerable one to kind of kick that off. Yeah. Right. And it's not always reciprocated. And then you feel kind of left in the dust because you were the one who was vulnerable. You just kind of have to like learn to get past that and not worry about that as much and like be cool with who you are and like what you're talking about and stuff like that. But to me, it's just really, really important. Like my closest friends in life are still like, like my high school buddies. I'm comfortable, doing that with them and talking to them about that kind of stuff. Whereas like the more surface level ones, I never consider those people like my good friends, if you will, It's just a random take but they all know what I do for a living. I know what they do for a living.
I don't know if anyone knows what I really do for a living.
Yeah. Okay. When we say what you do for a living, I would say at least be able to give like a quick little elevator pitch.
Yeah.
That is in the right ballpark.
I think family and friends would say he does podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
would they know that it's about fantasy football?
They would know it's generally about the NFL.
Okay.
But I don't think they would. Some of them would know like specifically, but yeah. I don't think they know. I mean, look, yes, I know like my best friend's job. He's a Maryland State Trooper, and he has been for a long time. And I know exactly what he does on a daily basis. So yeah, right. We are. Yeah, I do know that. Neil, you gotta ask your buddy what he does, man.
Even if it's like I'm picturing Neil like literally having no idea what his friend's like career is, like just having no clue. Like even if if he's like a software engineer, great, that's enough. Like I'm thinking like you don't even know what industry he works in. Like that's kind of wild to me if that's the case.
Yeah. By the way, Charles Sword is in the comments. He says, wait, older generations of men were more open to other men about their feelings. I get where you're coming from, and the answer is probably no.
Right.
Also, I think that guys in previous generations have had more and better in-person relationships with other guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like where you're not so alienated, you're not so isolated as people are today.
Yeah, I even think back to like growing up. I've talked about it plenty. I grew up in like a pretty like the most standard suburban neighborhood of all time. Like when you picture a suburban neighborhood in the 90s, I grew up in that neighborhood. And it was a big development, tons and tons of houses. All the neighbors and all the kids all played together all the time. We're always talking to one another. You just don't have that vibe anymore. Like people are more inside. They're more, and I know that you can find pockets of that and like it still exists, but it's just different. Like you're not outward and like with people the same way that you were 20, 30 years ago. It's just
and it's the phones, right? It's just the phones.
Yeah, like probably.
I mean, I took Xavier to IHOP the other day, and every single table was the kid, either the kids on their tablet or the parents on their phone or both.
Yeah.
The entire time. And I'm like, damn, man, like what happened to us? We are just completely lost as far as this shit goes. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it. Trust me. I'm sitting there and I'm trying to get my mind off of my phone. Well, I'm sure I have a bunch of mentions. I'm sure I have emails.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm getting phone and and I want to check. I want that dopamine hit. Give me it. Right.
Yeah.
So I understand the pool of it, but it really has messed us up socially.
Camp Jones says they are talking, just not in person. That's true. It's not wrong. Like a lot of, again, like I'll just go to like my high school buddies. Like we don't see each other nearly as frequently as any of us would want because we're literally scattered across the country.
Yeah.
And we're talking like every single day and chatting and stuff like that. So I do think that that's a little bit different. Like you probably, I think these days you're able to maintain relationships better than you were because of that. I don't know if the depth is the same as it used to be.
But here's the thing. Here's we can get off this. I know we're running out of time here. If I was suddenly stripped of all my ability to be on social media, to be on a Discord, to do any sort of electronic communication, I promise you that I would seek and find in-person relationships
right.
to fill that part of my life. Right.
Yeah.
And so it is a substitute for that, and often it's a hollow substitute.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, like you said, this is the hour mark, so we got to head out of here and get our work done before this Thanksgiving break. Denny, let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on the Blue Sky Machine. I go by Denny Carter there, not CD Carter. So check me out. You can also find all my work on Roto World, including the regression files, which are up right now.
Every social media platform, I'm probably on there at Late Round QB. Check out my work over on lateround.com. Also my podcast, the Late Round Podcast. Denny, happy Thanksgiving, brother. Hope you have all of the corn in the world on your plate, and only corn.
It's just one plate of big
corn, maybe some lentils, maybe some chickpeas for you.
That's actually what I'm gonna eat. I want 1 can of chickpeas, please, for Thanksgiving.
1 can of chickpeas and maybe a little bit of corn. Thanks for listening, everyone. We're very thankful for you, of course, being such loyal listeners. Yeah. We really, really appreciate it. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy some football. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to Living the Stream. We hope you enjoyed the internet podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes now. It won't take long. It's fast. For more fantasy football info, check out
LateRound.com and NBC Sports Edge.
Hope you come back soon as we share about the teams and as we live in